What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off what the chart is showing and based off what the data is suggesting. I'm going to break down the earnings reports that just came out, why they're very big for the markets and NIO, what's happening to the overall market from a sentiment standpoint, and also what NIO put on their Twitter page, which is still very, very bullish news for its long-term future, despite what is going on with the share price right now. Before I break anything down about NIO and what's going on with the share price and what I think is going to play out for tomorrow, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. And it not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 10 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, out of these 10 free stocks, 5 are going to come from the wheel right here. So you could win 5 free Tesla shares, 5 free AMC shares, or a mix of all of them. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 2 weeks. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at NIO, this thing was down about 1.83% for the day, but it's still respecting this uptrend right over here. And I actually draw this out. I've drawn this out in a different way now, and it's really giving us a clear understanding of what could end up happening in the market. So something's very, very, very interesting is going on right now with SPY. The SPY pushed up, and we had resistance that was pretty strong around this 430 range. It's not specifically 430, but I would say like from 430 to the low 430s, like up until like 432, 433. And we got this big rejection followed by a nice bounce. So very interesting to see. We're entering what may be the chop zone where the SPY starts trading back and forth. It could still respect an uptrend, but it could be seeing some of these like rejections as it starts testing these higher ranges because the resistance is getting stronger. And what's very interesting about that is look at the NASDAQ, which tends to affect those tech stocks, very similar setup. The NASDAQ went well above that 13,000 range. I was talking about this yesterday. I did talk about how it had a little bit more room, but we actually got smacked once we hit that once we went well above 13,000, this big smack all the way down to the very, very low 13,000 range. And we got a bit of a bounce right there. So it actually held up pretty well. But once again, the NASDAQ Inspire is starting to act choppy, and I'm seeing some choppy price action in the market. Now, when it comes to NIO, I was anticipating a nice move to the upside. And I did think that it's possible for NIO to fill the gap around that 22 range. Still is possible if the market holds up, if NIO shows some good strength. But as of right now, I'm not actually seeing it happening as fast as I originally thought. It looks more like it's going to respect this pattern first before seeing a potential breakout to either direction. So let's actually talk about this. If you look at the market right now, we're looking at the fear and greed index finally hitting the greedy side. Let me close that. I apologize for that coming in the way. But anyways, the market's pretty greedy right now. And when the market becomes greedy, that's when things could really, really shift in different directions. Now, why on earth is the market going to shift in its direction? That's because of the fact that the market makers take advantage of things like this. If the market is too comfortable, there will probably be a yank to the downside soon, but not immediately. I think we're entering that choppy zone. I don't think the market's just going to start tumbling down super quick from here. I think we're starting the phase for a reversal soon. And I want to tell you guys why I feel that way. If you look at earnings that came out, all right, we have Target's earnings coming out, I think, tomorrow, or it's going to take a little time. But Walmart's came out, and Walmart ended up beating expectations, which is great. I'm proud of them. But there's a problem. We're in a recession, and we're supposed to be seeing earnings not really meeting expectations, if I'm going to be frank with you. Because if you look at inflation, the last report came out at over 8%. It's still too darn high. So I'm really going to want the Fed to be really, really hawkish during the next FOMC meeting. We have the minutes coming out for tomorrow. It should not affect the market too badly. But I think as we approach, let me think, the third week of September, as September comes, I expect the market to actually start to consolidate more and start taking a bit of a hit. And we're not that far from September. We're just less than 2 weeks away from it, like 2 or so weeks. It's getting closer. And once we get closer to September, maybe towards the last week of August, maybe as early as that, I wouldn't be surprised if the market starts to take a bit of a hit because the Fed is going to have to be more hawkish. Inflation is too high, and earnings are, in my opinion, a little bit too strong. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. Those earnings per shares need to start dropping because we need to enter a recession that helps cool down inflation. So with that said, I mean, I'm talking about like a few weeks out. As of right now, NIO could push up a bit, but it may not push up as hard as I originally thought based off the setup. So I am seeing it respecting a pattern that's kind of like this for now. With that said, here's what I'm essentially seeing. NIO did not announce their earnings yet. Earnings are going to come out a little bit later, but what I'm essentially seeing is a big improvement by Q3. And what I also think is going to happen is NIO is going to respect this pattern from here. So support and resistance levels. So as far as this goes, you could actually look at this as support and resistance as well. But the big thing that I like to look at is the zones. That's where it's very, very important. So the very high resistance would be 22, 21.5. That's the next key resistance level for NIO, the really major one. But if this thing comes down, right, if this thing does push down, it has support at 20.8, support at 20.2, and then 19.5. I think most of the action that we're going to be watching for is going to be between 20.2 and around this 21.5 range. And it could get a breakout in either direction since we are respecting an uptrend. So NIO is still respecting an uptrend because the SPY might be holding up pretty well. Maybe it's going to hold up for another like week or so before we start to see even more chop. But I am starting to see some signs of chop already. So what NIO may end up doing for tomorrow is into open. I think she's going to get a big push like this. And she's going to go for the gap fill. So we have this gap right here, right? There's a gap right there. NIO is probably going to fill the gap past 21.3, maybe go as high as 21.5. Get a bit of a rejection from there. After the rejection, it's going to come down like this, push down a bit. It might touch this pennant that it has been respecting. I want to see this uptrend kind of continue. Could it actually go a little lower than that? If it doesn't even come as low as like 20.8, completely fine. It doesn't have to respect it perfectly. I'm going to look for a nice bounce and hopefully another push in this direction, about 21.5, followed by a bit of a drop and a close around the, I would say, low 21 range. So I am anticipating a slight green day for tomorrow. I'm seeing a lot of price action between 20.8 and 21.5. So I am seeing a move like this, a green close for tomorrow. And going into like the 19th or so, Friday, we should actually see a better move, but we're going to see how this thing really reacts to this and how well we can actually respect this formation. With that said, I'm still pretty optimistic. I don't see this as the end of the world for NIO. And if you wanted to like redraw this like this, you could also do that. But just for simplicity reasons, I'm going to talk about it this way because this thing could actually still break past 21.5 if we get really nice volume. So that's why I'm going to draw it out this way. So with that said, just be on the lookout for what NIO ends up doing. If this thing is actually respecting it in like this direction, it wouldn't matter that much. We would still be like approaching the end of the pennant. Either way, it's looking okay. I'm still seeing a move kind of like this. I think it's going to get a little bit tighter. I want to see which direction this thing breaks out in from there. It could go really either way. I would hope for the upside and we get that gap fill, but it's also going to depend on the market and SPY. We're getting close to the end of August, so we could see some downside from the markets. So I'm very optimistic, but also very cautious for NIO, especially after everything that's going on in China. They are going through some economic turmoil right now. They're having lots of big issues in the real estate sector, so it may have a negative effect on NIO. This thing could actually get a breakout to the downside later on. I can't confirm it yet, though. I don't want to be too pessimistic. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Other than that, this is essentially what I'm seeing in the chart. Depending on how you want to draw it out, either way is still possible. With that out of the way, I want to talk about the last thing going on with NIO. The NIO ES7, the NIO ET7 come standard with Panacinema, the AR/VR compatible custom digital cockpit system with a very advanced sound system enabled by Dolby. So very, very amazing user experience, incredible car. The long-term future is still very bright. For the short term, I still think NIO could actually hold this range pretty well. It may come down a little later. That's my important warning for you. But for the long term, I'm still incredibly bullish. With that said and done, thank you all for listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. NIO to the moon because the long term future is bright, and peace out.